What's up everyone, Colm here. Welcome back to the Sekiro No Healing Challenge, aka Vampire Mode, where I can't use any healing items and I can't heal by resting, and I can only heal by killing enemies. So right here, I'm just stocking up on spirit emblems. I have, as you can see, over 700 just from my New Game Plus escapades. So right here, just working my way towards the first snake eyes. And in case you were wondering, all the music I'm going to be using throughout this series is made by myself. So some of it's on Spotify, some of it isn't. A lot of these beats are just shit I had on my computer that I haven't used yet. So I figured why not use them here, just so I can avoid getting demonetized. Because as we all know, this video will blow up overnight and make me millions. Yeah, it is cool to just use your own shit because it's just one less thing to worry about, copyright and all that. But yeah, fighting the snake eyes here, I'm pretty sure I died to her a few more times. Even despite all of my buffs, so, you know, having a full health bar and have, you know, all that, like, I'm still dying in a few hits to a lot of enemies. So that just goes to show how intense it is on New Game Plus with all the, you know, the demon belt and no charm. Like, you're gonna die so fucking fast if you're not careful. But anyway, here's the long-armed centipede giraffe. Pretty straightforward boss, really. Take a few deaths, finish him off, you know the vibes. So the real centerpiece of this video is going to be the duo ape fight, because holy shit. It's hard, but it's more about, like, you have to be so evasive. Yeah, it's just purely about survival. You know, when the other ape comes down, it's like making sure that you're giving yourself enough distance. You just have to be very focused, because as you know, like, this game is not designed for group combat, really. So I essentially have to use, like, all of my movement skill and just constantly dodging and judging how far away each ape is and what attack they're doing. So yeah, Guardian Ape, another easy enough early game boss. I die to him a few times, but I kill him third try, I'm pretty sure. And the main danger is from his grab. Yeah, once you see him kind of like quickly walking towards you, you know it means he's about to either do his big jumping grab or he's gonna jump in the air and throw his shit at you. So once I know the tell, I'm able to like act accordingly. And yeah, phase 2 overall I would say is easier, because you can use the spear to pull the centipede out of his neck, which I didn't know until like my third playthrough. And I just love the animations you get when you kill bosses in this game. Like, pulling that sword out of his neck is so sick. So anyway, more about the fight. It's just quite slow. Like right here, I have to run away to avoid the scream. But it does give me time to like buff myself again, so that's cool. And then it's just about staying in front of him, deflecting, you know, making sure to get that deflection on that big overhead attack so I can use the spear. And rinse and repeat, basically. I actually end up dying here at some point, just because I'm missing a few deflections. And like, most of these boss fights are not flawless by any means. There's only like a few bosses where I managed to beat them without taking any damage. There'll be a lot of like me going hitless for like the first few minutes, and then I just get hit and then I die, just because my posture gets broken or whatever. So yeah, I am not aiming for like a flawless run by any means. As long as I don't heal, I'm fucking happy, you know. And because I have such a big health bar, I can get hit a few times. No hit is something that doesn't interest me right now. It's way too tedious, man. I have to reset so many fucking times. So also, please forgive all the lag on this recording. I'm pretty sure, see, I don't have a capture card. I'm using the inbuilt recording function on my Xbox, so I feel like it adds a bit of lag. So apologies for that, especially during death blow animations on like big bosses. So that's going to be happening a little bit throughout the video. And as you'll probably start to notice, I actually die way more to mini bosses than bosses because I don't generally fight all the mini bosses on a playthrough. And there's one mini boss in particular that fucked me up for like a good while, which is Lone Shadow Vilehand, who appears in the arena where you first fight the Ashina Elite. And because I completely forgot he even existed, because I normally don't go that way to get to Owl, so I ran up there and I was like, oh, there's a mini boss here. I completely forgot. And also there's a guy in the arena with him. And after a lot of trial and error, I realized you could use Gotcha and Sugar to just stealth the first guy and then just kill Vilehand one-on-one. But it still took me like 10 attempts. Especially he also has a move that restores some of his posture, which is so annoying. But anyway, right here I'm finishing off the ape, and again, forgive the massive frame drops here. So we'll be moving on to Senpou Temple next and killing the armored warrior and the folding screen monkeys, which was a pretty easy section because I beat the armored warrior on my first try. And the monkeys are the monkeys, so there's nothing really to worry about with them. And then we get to use Mortal Draw finally, which is the most overpowered shit in this game. People say there's no cheese in Sekiro, but there is, let's be honest. It's Jump Mortal Draw plus Yashiriku's Sugar and Divine Confetti. Absolutely shred most enemies and bosses. So as Genichiro himself said, I will seize any means of heretical arts to achieve my goal and not feel bad about it in the slightest. So as I said, I beat Armored Warrior first try, but as you can see here, I broke his posture and fucked up the kicking him off the edge. So I just had to clean him up and make sure not to die. Yeah, probably one of my favorite mini bosses just because of just the feeling of weight. Like when he's hitting the ground, you can see the whole like bridge is like shaking, which is super cool. Just deflecting his big juicy hitboxes is so satisfying. And then kicking him off the edge. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Classic. So moving on to the monkeys. Boom, bang, bing, bosh. Yeah, this is by far the easiest boss fight in the game. And it's nice to have a little breather because the late game gets pretty intense, as you can imagine. So moving on to the depths, first fighting Lone Shadow Long Swordsman, taking a few deaths to him. As is customary, it is really nice that they give you a free death blow on him, because these guys can be quite challenging. Like they have so many different moves, but I remember like most of the patterns at this point. So yeah, so I cleaned him up on my third try, and then we're moving on to Snake Eyes, another mini boss that you can get a death blow on from behind, which is nice. I've spent an embarrassing amount of time trying to figure out like how to stealth all the mini bosses. There are a lot of little tricks you can do, like using blood smoke ninjutsu and just clever use of like running away and like de-aggroing them and stuff, and also using the finger whistle to like drive certain enemies mad. Lots of little cool strategies to use. So right here she just starts shooting me over and over again. It's like she's trying to like protect herself from getting her posture broken, which is interesting. So of course Snake Eyes is just a barrier to the real highlight of this area, which is the duo Apes. By far the most bullshit fight in this game. Overall, like the bosses are so good that I can forgive this one kind of misstep, but it is pretty BS. This fight was super intense, man. I somehow managed to beat it second try, which is honestly kind of insane. I just got ganked first time around. You'll see me take a death here in a sec while the two apes are active. So yeah, I spent large portions of this fight just running around, avoiding all their attacks, trying to find the one opening, you know. I ended up using Mortal Blade because it can attack both of them at once, so it can sometimes stun the big guy with the sword, so it gives me a little bit of breathing room. But the openings are few and far between. And like I said earlier, like this game is not designed for group combat. So like in Dark Souls, if you have a huge horde of enemies, right, like or a duo boss, it feels like they give you a bit more time. Like they each kind of take their turn. But in this game, it's like they do that to an extent, to be fair. Like, but the difference being in Sekiro, like, you know, you don't have like a great sword or like spells to like hit enemies from afar. Like you have certain tools you can use, but overall you're pretty limited in how you can deal with enemies. So compared to like Dark Souls, where you have so many different builds and shit. Yeah, generally speaking, I don't enjoy the boss fights that require a lot of running around, like Blazing Bull and Duo Ape and Demon of Hatred to an extent, but I actually enjoy fighting him. Like, I just beat him there for the video. You'll see that in a few episodes' time, but I don't know, somehow he's actually quite fun to fight. But like, it's a different kind of challenge. It just brings me back to playing Dark Souls, a lot more you know, dodge based. So it's a change of pace. Every game has to have some bullshit in there somewhere. It's just inevitable, I think. So right here I get him to phase 2, and this is where the fight really starts. So my number one objective here is to just kill the second ape as quickly as possible, just to get them out of the way so I can be one-on-one with the headless ape again. Quite frustrating because sometimes you have their posture broken, but you just don't have an opening to do the death blow. Like at one point here, I'm literally about to do the death blow and the headless guy just kills me right before. So I use Yashiriku's sugar to try to just up my damage so I can kill the second ape really quickly. But obviously you have to sacrifice half your health bar, so it's pretty risky when you can't heal. So one thing to note is that whenever the headless ape screams, the other one will always come towards you and attack. So you can kind of like strategize around that pattern to an extent. And also they do spend a lot of time just like aura farming and just like making poses while the headless ape is like running after you. So they're not as dangerous as they may seem at first, but they're just annoying. They're just like in the way. So you'll see here in a second now, the headless ape is screaming and then the brown ape starts running after me. So it gives me a little bit of time to like try to get one-on-one, but right here he does the combo and I somehow managed to deflect all of it while my camera is like lodged inside of his body, which I thought was pretty cool. So the second ape is nearly dead, so right here I just need to be really, really safe and make sure I kill that ape, and then I should be good to go. So I'm just not taking any risks. I think I consider using the dragon's blood here, but I decide not to. But I actually end up using it afterwards. So I go in for one final mortal draw to finish off the second ape. And thank God for those iframes, because the headless ape was literally about to slice right through me. So finally have him one-on-one, and I'll just let the fight play out from here. So thank you very much for watching again. This has been episode 2 of my Sekiro No Healing Challenge. And I'll be back next Sunday with episode 3, where I'm going to be tackling Corrupted Monk, Owl, and a bunch of other late game bosses. Stay tuned for that, and yeah, peace.